Shalom. Back with part 2. Let's continue. All right. Let me give you further understanding and example that he's at the end of his kingdom here. Let's go to, let me go back to the blue letter here. Let's go to Revelations. All right. Revelations 12. All right, what does it say here? This is Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. That would be us brothers and sisters that are in this truth, all right, in these scriptures, rooted in them. Woe, which means destruction to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. The sea is representing the people, the masses, all right. For the devil, again, we're not talking about, some guy in a red spandex suit with 2 horns, a tail, and a pitchfork. No, talking about Esau, Edom. Is come down onto you having great wrath. That's what he's getting ready to do. Again, it's just prophecy, people. This is all a part of what? Jacob's trouble, all right? Jacob's trouble is our rite of passage into the kingdom, all right? So it has to happen in order for us to get into the kingdom. You understand? It has to take place. It has to play out. Okay, it's prophesied, all right? And when he moves, all right, because he represents the left hand of the Father, then Yahushua will make his move. You understand? He'll raise up that standard, okay, that's talked about in Isaiah. All right, when they come in as a flood, he shall raise up a standard, all right? All right, so the devil is come down onto you having great wrath because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. See that? Which again, right, like all previous kingdoms, they're all temporary kingdoms. All right. Job 14:5. Okay. This will prove to you, all right, that what does it mean that he hath but a short time? Well, again, he's been given a certain amount of time to rule, all right? And he will not go 1 second beyond that time that the Lord has allotted him, okay? You understand that? So here, Job 14:5, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. See that? He will not go 1 second beyond what the Lord has allotted him. Now, he doesn't know when that is. Only Yahweh Bashem Yahushua know that. You understand that? Okay? And you already should know that the chariots, which is the curse that goeth over the face of the earth, pursuant to Zechariah, the 5th chapter, they're all over the place, the chariots. And all you got to do is go to Gina Marie Colvin's page, and she puts up videos every day about the chariots. Okay? She takes pictures with her, with her phone, with her cell phone. All right? I mean, she obviously uses some type of lens, but the chariots are here. Everyone has seen them. Okay? I think recently it was a pilot, I believe, flying over Mexico, that recently made a report, about one of the chariots of Yahweh. Okay? That isn't even, I think, a week old. All right, that story. So, I mean, they're all over the place, the GMS camp sees them quite frequently. All right? Over their camps. All right? So, anyway, the point being is that we're at the door, people. We're at the end of this man's rulership. Okay? That's the point. All right? Where else did I want to take you to? All right, let's go to Let's go to Daniel. All right. Let's go to Daniel. Daniel 4:17. All right, what does it say here? This matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, much like we read in Escalatius 10 and 4, right? That the Lord ruleth, right, in the kingdom of men, right? Okay? And he decides who he gives, the power seat to, all right? And it says that, he, in due time, he will give it to one that is profitable, and that's talking about Yahushua, the Mashiach, right? So Esau's rulership was only temporary, okay? But it's the Lord that does it. So it was the Lord that put the Babylonians in power, put the Medo-Persians in power, the Macedonian kingdom when the Edomites first came into power. And of course, that was the third beast. And then, of course, finally, they morphed into the fourth and final beast, the Roman Empire. Again, Edomites, right? And this is prior to them being put down for that 1,000 years, okay? But then he would put them back in the power seat during the Renaissance, and that Renaissance means rebirth of the Edomites back into the power seat. But this would be the third and final time, all right? So in America, Babylon the Great is the last leg and extension of that third time, all right? America is the eighth head, okay? There ain't no ninth, there ain't no 10th, 11th. There's nothing that comes after America, Babylon the Great. America, Babylon the Great is the eighth head, all right? When you break down the parable in Revelation 17, about the 7 heads and 10 horns. America's the eighth that comes out of the 7, all right? And the 7, all right, when you get into the parable, and it tells you, well, out of the 7, there are 7 kings. Well, that word kings there is talking about kingdoms, all right? Which again, that's what mountains represent, government, nation, kingdoms, all right? So it's talking about 7 kingdoms, all right? They just have the word abbreviated as kings. So 5 are fallen. The 5 are Germania Major, Germania Minor, all right? The Greek Empire, right? The Macedonian kingdom. And you have the French and Spain. Those are the 5 fallen kingdoms. And then the parable continues. Those are the 5 fallen. The one that is the Roman Empire. During the time that John the Revelator wrote the book of Revelations, he was on the island of Patmos in his 90s, all right, a political prisoner for the Roman Empire, okay, when the angel appeared unto him, all right, so that he could write the book of Revelations. So the Roman Empire is number 6, okay? So I've given you the 5 that have fallen, and I've given you number 6, the Roman Empire, the one that is. And then there will be one is yet to come, and yet must continue a short space, and that would be the British Empire. And those are your 7 heads. The 10 horns I really don't have to go into. Those were 10 vassal states of the Roman Empire. All right, some of them, the names of them, the Lombards, the Burgundians, the Suebi, the Saxons, all right, the Herculi, the Huns, all right, you understand? There were like 10 of them, all right? Anyway, modern day today, those are the EU nations, all right? What were known as the 10 vassal states. That's the EU. All right. And then the beast is NATO. So you have a political and financial arm, which are the EU nations, which, are the international banking families that run that, okay, run it all. They're behind it all. So you have the EU nations as the political financial arm. You have NATO as the military arm, the iron teeth of the beast, all right, because they're the beast. And then you have the whore, which is America, Babylon the Great, and she represents the last leg and extension of that fourth beast, of that revived Roman Empire. You understand? Okay? Which is headed up by who? The Edomites. All right? Because that system that, which is known, all right, it was consummated in 1958, this last leg and extension of the revived Roman Empire under the Treaty of Rome, all right, where America, NATO and the EU, formed this alliance, this agreement. And basically, again, this comes after World War II. It felt, Russia was a threat. That's why, NATO was created, okay, and all that. But again, let's understand something, people. This is all prophecy, all right? It's just all prophecy. Again, you have, when you read Daniel, the second chapter, the statue of the man, all right, and, the different ages. And when you get down, you have the 10 toes, the feet, okay? And what is that talking about? That's the last part of the Edomite beast system, okay? The 10 toes, all right? You had, that are part iron, part miry clay. Well, that they would eventually break apart, be divided. You already had Brexit, right? So, and that's the point that we're at here, people, okay? They are people divided. And what does it say in Mark 3:24-26? How can Satan cast out Satan? We're not talking about the spiritual entity Satan. Satan means adversary. And in this case, you're talking about Edomites. So how can Edomites cancel out Edomites? Well, a nation divided cannot stand. It has its end. And we're at the end now, okay? Because they are divided. You understand? The EU nations, they hate the whore, okay? And, it's prophesied there in Revelation 17, 16, and 17. And the 10 horns that thou sawest on the beast, so they're talking about EU and NATO, these shall hate the whore, America, Babylon the Great, and shall make her desolate and naked, eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Now, how the hell do you think they're going to do that? You think they're going to fly over America with gasoline and light a match? No. They're going to send ICBMs, that nuclear fire, intercontinental ballistic missiles. You understand? And it tells you that in the next verse. That the Lord will put it in their hearts, which in Hebrew is lav, which means mind, to fulfill his will. You understand? And it's not just going to be the EU nations, okay, and NATO. All right, it's going to be other nations outside of the EU, like Russia, like China, like Iran. Everybody that has ICBM capability, because again, this is all scriptural. Because you could also go and you read it, an example, Jeremiah 50 and 29. All right? All right. So, again, it is the Most High that ruleth in the kingdom of men, and he giveth it to whosoever he will, and he setteth up over it the bases of men. Now, the bases of men is talking about Esau, Edom. Okay? All right. We'll end this here. We'll come right back with part 3. All right? Shalom.